We're standing here in the heart of Jerusalem with Sarri Singer, who I know for a while, again, I repeat, in Jerusalem, in the heart of Jerusalem. And Sarri was in, many years ago, back in 2003, knows on a very, very personal level about terrorism, because one of the incidents that happened in 2003, and Sarri will tell us a little bit about that, and what it's like to be back in Jerusalem during a difficult time. In that incident, a great number of people were murdered all around Sarri, and Sarri's here standing in Jerusalem today, Erev Shabbos, during this difficult time. First of all, just going back to what happened then, just tell us briefly what happened and what that was like.
Sure. So it was actually a very typical day for me. I worked in Harnof, and so I was in my office towards the end of the day, and I was meeting a friend for dinner in the German colony, but I wasn't familiar with what bus to take to get there because I usually walk there from my apartment. So I called a friend to ask me what bus I should take, and she said I could catch the number 14 right by the Central Bus Station. So I made my way around, left at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I went to the bus stop, and I waited for the 14 bus. It was running late. I went to hail a cab, and then I saw the bus coming, so I figured I might as well get on the bus. I boarded. It was very crowded. It was during rush hour. When we got up to Machane Yehuda, I saw 2 seats in the front section open up. Normally I would have taken the aisle seat because people get out a lot of packages there at the end of the day, but for some reason I took the window seat, and I know that if I didn't take that seat, I wouldn't be alive today.
Wow.
Within a few minutes, I felt a huge shockwave. I didn't know it was a terrorist attack. I thought that somebody had hit me in the face with something, or that we had gotten into a bus accident. But the last thing that I thought was that someone boarded that bus strapped with explosives to hurt and murder innocent people. I was one of the lucky ones. That day, 100 of us, over 100 people were injured, and 16 innocent people were murdered, including one American named Alan Beer.
Right, on the bus and off the bus.
On the bus
well?
and off the bus, people were injured.
16 people.
Struck. Yeah.
Were you injured at all?
I was injured. I was at Hadassah Hospital, where I credit them with saving my life.
Right.
I was the last person that evening to go into surgery. I was the least of the seriously wounded. I had shrapnel that went through my left shoulder, breaking my clavicle bone. Both my eardrums were blown from the impact of the blast. My hair was burned, my face was burned and bruised, my legs badly cut up. I have 2 pieces of shrapnel in my mouth that are inoperable, and that's lucky, because unfortunately some people come off with missing limbs, and that day 16 innocent people didn't come off.
Fast forward, we're in 2015. It's been a rough couple of weeks here. Just walk the streets, and it's happened that people come up to you, behind you, you just don't expect it, put knives into you, use axes, just randomly killing innocent men, women, and children. It's a difficult time for the people of Israel, for the Jewish people all over the world. You're back in Jerusalem. You're here. What is that message to Jews all over the world? You are an American. You live in America.
I live in New York.
You live in New York. You're here for a little while. What's the message to Jews all over the world during this difficult time? Some people are afraid. They stop coming and so on. What's your message? You're here.
I think it's normal to be afraid. I was a little nervous in that this was a different type of terrorism than I lived here initially. But we have to be here, and we can't give into that fear. Terrorism wants to paralyze us and wants to make us be afraid and stop doing the things that we love to do. And I think being here at this time is very important for the Israelis to see that we stand with them. I mean, I was out yesterday. I was out last night. It's a disheartening to see that there's not so many people out, but I think it's also the idea that life has to go on, and there is a resilience here of people moving forward, and I want to be a part of that, and I don't want to ever think that somebody's going to make me be afraid to be in the place that I love. So as much as the nerves were there, when I got off the plane and I stepped outside and smelled the Israel air, my fears sort of a little bit faded. Now, am I watching around? Yes, I'm watching like everybody's watching, but I think that being here is really important, and I don't think that anybody should stop their plans from coming.
Let me just ask you about that. For you personally, having gone through something that the rest of the world can say, yeah, I understand, or you can read, you can watch. You were there. You experienced that moment of an explosion and seeing people around you and the terrible things that happen. That's what I want to ask you. You're walking around. You're going. You're not. Do you think back to those days? Like literally when you're walking here now, so many years later, thinking back of that particular day when you went through such a horrible ordeal.
I mean, every time there's an incident, an attack anywhere in the world, it always brings me back to my own attack. This specifically, very much so. Yesterday, I spent the morning at Hadassah Hospital visiting some of the injured, and it was definitely very strengthening for me to do that. I hope that I gave physical and was able to help the families there because I understood what their loved ones were going through for the family members of those injured, and I understood what the injured were going through from that perspective. But I think that, thank God, my parents are really strong people, and I think that has kind of been something that I take with me, and that they give me a lot of strength. They were also, I was on the phone with them right before I left on my flight, and they said, please be safe and take care of yourself and call us, and I've been doing that to make sure they know, and posting on Facebook and all the other social media outlets for people to know what's going on here, because I want people to know that I'm here, and that it's important that even though I know, and it does bring me back to it, but that I have to be here, and I love here.
You have to overcome
Absolutely.
the fear, the concerns, because otherwise our enemies win. It's that simple. They want us to be paralyzed. They want to see empty streets. They want to see that we're afraid. And that's something that we can't. Be careful, keeping your eyes open, being aware, but afraid is a victory for the terrorists. God forbid.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
No, thank you guys for being here.
A place for us. We thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we can be here and send the message to people all over the world. Thank you so much.
Shabbat shalom.